To please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Please have a seat. Okay, at this time I would like to request a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors, as well as those suffering around the world, including the Mideast. So a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We'll now do roll call.
Michael Messina.
Present.
Ed Whitman.
Present.
Mary Adler.
Present.
Carol Butterworth.
Here.
Charlie Roth.
Present.
Okay. All right, may I please have a motion for the approval of the January 18th, 2024 open board meeting minutes?
I move to accept the minutes of the January 18th, 2024 meeting.
Okay, may I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all board members in favor of approving the minutes, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion for the approval of the minutes is passed. That's formality. Okay, limber up a little bit. Okay, so we start off with a president's report, and then we go to the various offices. And this president's report will include a single motion. That means we spent money. Okay. And we have a single motion for this meeting on an already completed repair. As mentioned in previous open board meetings, repairs that occur between open board meetings are memorialized at the next open board meeting. Explanation of the work done will now be offered by Ray, our manager, followed by a vote by the board. This work has been completed already. Again, this is to memorialize what we did.
All right, this proposal was from a cut above to perform some drainage remediation at the tennis courts. Over the past year or two, there was runoff from the pool deck onto the tennis courts coming through the river rock, and sand was deposited on the courts. The cut above removed the river rock, replaced the carpeting underneath. They put in drainage system, 6 drains along the tennis courts, and then put an underground drainage system from the west side of the tennis courts back to the sewer grate. This was proposed for the cost of $11,942 plus tax.
I make a motion to
Second.
approve a cut above performing drainage remedies of the tennis court area for $11,942.
Mary made a motion to accept what Ray just explained, and now we'll ask for a second.
Second.
Okay, and now there will be a vote. All those in favor of this motion? Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion is passed. The work again has been completed. I just want to add that the tennis court has had numerous problems with cracks in it and water runoff, and some of our residents have actually fallen because of the sand that gets onto the court. So it's something that needed to be done, and it was accomplished. Okay. All right. Now we'll continue on to my report. So I normally report on several things. The first one I'm going to report on is the fence, as I normally do. And this will be relatively quick. The fence project for the Massachusetts side, as well as the Whitesville side of our development, is now completed. This was worse than giving birth. It took longer than giving birth. All right, so the final tally for the expenses came in under budget. Yes. I wanted to add to that. We are in the process, part of the reason why we came under budget, and Ray will go into more detail as part of this manager's report, was that we are now in the process of spray painting some of the aluminum poles, which are bright and shiny, and painting them black. For those residents where it's very obtrusive in their face, kind of, in their backyard, we're gonna be painting them black. Not all that work has been completed, but it will be. But spray painting those poles takes into account it has to be over 50 degrees. So a lot of it has been accomplished, more will be done. And I would request that all residents wait for the spring when the green stuff comes out and that fence will kind of disappear. But if there's any problem, please fill out a concern sheet and send it into the office, and we'll try to do individual looking at situations to try to make it as best as possible. Okay, but a lot of the spray painting has been done. I can't say it was done 100%. Okay, we will now go on to the cladding project, which is again like giving birth, but the good news is the cladding project is nearing completion. All of the buildings have been vinyl sided. Final decorative restoration as well as interior repairs to the walls and windows are still pending. The level of structural damage was immense. As an example, the entire wall of the huge windows at the annex needed to be entirely replaced. The columns at the back of the clubhouse on either side, one of them is a weight-bearing column and one's a decorative one. Both of the weight-bearing ones were failing, holding up the overhangs. You can't tell until you dive into it. So, improper flashing of almost all of the windows in the annex and clubhouse, along with water infiltration and some old termite damage were the root causes for this needed repair. This project was not cheap, and I mentioned at the last meeting. Get ready. The price tag is somewhere around $330,000 for this repair, $330,000. We had no idea how bad it was. But anyway, structurally, with the exception of the columns, because they have to figure out how to hold up the overhangs while they take out the columns, which are failing, still has to be done. So more to come on that. But as you look outside, I'd ask you to look at the cladding in the front. I didn't pick it. Looks pretty good. The vinyl, if you didn't know any better, you would say it looks just the way it used to be. So I'm thankful that that job is nearing completion. I normally report also on the pool, and there's really nothing in regard to the indoor pool. So far it's been a relatively problem-free winter season. There will be a startup meeting for the outside pool season sometime late in the later part of March, and I just want you to know that that committee is headed up by Ed Buskovich in the back. So you'll hear more about that, and we're looking for volunteers again. We had a very successful year last year, and we look to have that repeated this year. Okay, now I'm going to hit a hot topic. As part of my final report, I would like to touch on snow removal. Alyssa, did you know the better? Okay. Anyway, Alyssa's going to put something up in the back, and it kind of tells you what it costs to do snow removal. But even though it's part of the President's report, Ray and I are tag teaming on this because he has a lot of information. So I'm going to turn it over to Ray, and I'll be back talking about it in a minute. Ray?
All right, as this concerns the snow events from January 16th to 19th and the services performed. As you know, Meticulous Landscaping took over for Turfmaster as of January 1st. You may have noticed the brand new equipment in the clubhouse, and Meticulous also worked with us to provide a local crew and supervisor, mostly from the Lakewood area, to help with the response. First, let me explain that the scope of snow removal services are still the same as that was under the Turfmaster contract for the better part of 10 years. Meticulous saved us some money, but the services are still the same. Snow removal services will only start at 3 inches of accumulation. Secondly, Lake Ridge and Meticulous are bound by a contract with Tom's River for monetary oversight of the snow removal services. First, Tom's River must authorize Meticulous to perform the service only after 3 inches of accumulation have been confirmed. Once approved by the township, Meticulous will receive those payments, although it is discounted from what our contract states. And our contract prices are posted in the back there for everybody to see.
On the TV.
For example, $550 for a ton of salt used by Meticulous is only reimbursed by the township at $78 a ton. That's just about 1/8 of the total cost of what it would cost to use a ton of the salt. The township also pays a discounted rate for any machinery used for snow removal. Mike?
Okay, so you know what, when we haven't dealt with snow in a while, and the last time it happened, I wasn't on the board, and I didn't really think much about it. It snows, the snow just, gets pushed out of the way, I'm a happy person. So, just wanted to go over, first, a budget is put together in the tail end of the prior year for this year, with best assumptions on how much money would be needed for snow removal for now. Second, a portion of the money spent for the clearing of all our roads is reimbursed by the township if, here's the if in the township's estimation more than 3 inches of snow has fallen. In the township's estimation being the trigger, our best estimate is from past reimbursement from the township that we get back approximately 75 or possibly 80% of the fee schedule that is up on that board there. Now, you can all turn around, you can see it or whatever, but I'm going to give you some specifics about that. Okay, so here's another key component. The township only reimburses us for the plowing of the roads, not the driveways, not the parking lots. The plowing of our parking lots and individual resident driveways is at the sole expense of the HOA. The salting of our roads is also reimbursed by the township if, in the township's estimation, salting is needed, and we did that outside of Lake Ridge. So here's the deal. It's a Friday night. It's snowing all day. 2 o'clock, we're talking to Meticulous. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:30. The township never gave permission to plow. The township still held fast that 2.75 inches of snow fell. And if you wanted to plow, it's your dime. Now, I was there, I was out on the roads. I thought we needed to plow, so we plowed. That plowing cost $10,000. Our dime. In addition, the salting cost us another $2,700, and the plowing of the parking lots was another $500. So we incurred an expense of $14,000, give or take. It was necessary. Anyone driving on the roads, it was necessary. So the question has come up, if you plowed the roads, why didn't you do the driveways? Had we done the driveways would have cost $9,260 more. So we already incurred an expense of $13,000. This snow event would have cost $22,000 because the township made the position that 2.75 inches of snow fell. Now, these are not easy decisions, and we're not looking to inconvenience anyone. And a budget is a budget, but we're trying to do the best we can. But spending an enormous amount of money on a less than significant snowfall means that the next significant snowfall may wipe out the monies that we have in the budget. So it became a judgment call by the board. I want to be very clear. The board made a judgment call about what to do, understanding all the facts, understanding what the township is doing, understanding how we get reimbursed. So the board takes sole responsibility for what was done during that snow event. Sole responsibility. So I wanted to just make that very clear. I know a lot of people, I've spoken to a lot of people about it. And Ray, you had something to add on that for the reimbursement?
Well, not as much as I did, but I'll finish up. It was pretty thorough there. Again, as Mike mentioned, there was only 2.75 inches verified by Tom's River, which incurred that the Lake Ridge was responsible for the total cleanup. I was away and out of state that week, but I kept in touch with Mike as the gate guards had continued to call me to let me know that people were stopping by to say that the plows were now not on site. In talking with Mike up on that Friday night till about midnight, the plows were out from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Mike actually ran into the plows out there and
Not
talked to them.
physically, no. I talked to them.
Mike conversed with them while they were out doing their duties there. Now, regardless, as with any snow event, there was hard-packed snow from vehicles riding over. There was melt, refreeze, and you're talking about a vendor who came in on their first time, so there still was a learning curve with meticulous learning this community. There were areas, especially shaded areas, curves, inclines, that needed to be treated more than once because of the melt and refreeze and the hard pack. We called in meticulous after the snow event, sat down with them, and we made sure that we would have alternate plowing schedules for each event if we have another event. We also asked meticulous that the next day after an event, they come out, ride through and assess the condition of the community, and if there's any subsequent treatment that needs to be done. Mike was out afterwards, I was out afterwards, and I will be out afterwards after any event just to make sure that everything is treated. Aside from what was said, or what was called into the guard shack, but some complaints we received, some complaints that we were told were on Facebook, the plows were out there, and again, it was less than 3 inches of snow. The people who had emergency driveway requests were taken care of. People who had unannounced emergency driveways, surgery in the morning, Mike actually went out and shoveled their driveway for him. So the board was involved, people were keeping an eye on this and to make sure that everybody was taken care of. We'll continue to monitor each and every event, trying to keep these costs in check while ensuring that the residents are safe. And I'm speaking with meticulous just to head off any other questions. The landscaping will start with a March, first week of March cleanup.
Okay, so one of the important takeaways was new company, Friday evening, township not giving us the go, but the trigger was pulled at 5:10 and they started plowing at 6:15 p.m. and finished around 1 o'clock in the morning. So for those people that were the first ones done, yeah, it happened around 6 o'clock, the clubhouse, the main roads. For those that were the last ones done on the Vicari side, that was done 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So next time, they're gonna start on Vicari, we're gonna try to alternate so that if you live on Vicari, you shouldn't always be the last one plowed, right? We'll try to alternate them. And the most important takeaway, you learn from these things, is that meticulous, your job, I know you're plowing at midnight, you gotta come back the next day and you gotta look around because the Whitesville gate really didn't get the attention that it needed. And let's say Morningdale between Lennox and this wasn't great, and they came back on Sunday, and now they will come back the next day. Because you're gonna miss something, you're shoveling snow in the middle of the night. So we're looking to make that better. And with that, my part of the report is done, and I'd like to turn it over for the Vice President's report.
Thank you, Mike. I have several things disjointed to report. First, as liaison to the Grounds Committee, nothing much has been happening in the return of winter on the Grounds Committee, but spring is just ahead. So, with regard to the vegetable gardens, I would remind those who are current plot holders to think about what they're going to do this spring. And for anyone who is interested in acquiring a plot, these are vegetable gardens. Please to contact me and I'll see if I can make arrangements to get you a plot. The condition of the garden down there is deteriorating over the course of years. It really needs to be addressed, and people who have plots need to get together to see what we can do about policing the area in terms of weeding and making sure that the pathways in the gardens are accessible and general cleanup down there. So that's one thing. Secondly, the street light problems. The office has reported to JCP&L all the streetlights that need to be addressed. So if you see any, report to the office and have them check off on the list and make sure. So the lateness or the tardiness in getting to the actual repair of the streetlight is no fault of Lake Ridge. It's in the hands of JCP&L. We can hope for the best. Another factor regarding grounds is now that we hope warmer weather is coming soon, I guess, that pedestrians on the, not merely the perimeter walkways, but your actual street sidewalks, if you have any complaints about the cracks or irregularities in them, report them to the board, or rather to the office. The cracks and irregularities that are already painted pink are known about and they're on the list to be repaired. But if you see anything that looks serious that's not spray painted, bring that to the attention of the office. Switching over to outdoor activities, Rick Caruana, who's the chair of the Outdoor Activities Committee, has submitted requests for equipment to be replaced. We need cornhole bags, shuffleboard pushers, I don't know what they call them, shuffleboard sets, tennis balls, pickleball nets and balls, basketball backboard and hoop and oops. And that need to be replaced. And so we're addressing those needs. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ed. We'll now move on to the treasurer's report, Mary.
Okay, unfortunately, I do not have a report for you this month. Due to the fact that this meeting is so early in the month, the 15th, all the financial reports are not in to get a final report. So as soon as all the information is in, the Finance Committee and I will get together, we will do a report and I will make sure it gets posted outside the office so you can see the results from January. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. We'll now move on to the secretary's report. Carol?
Oops. Oh, well, in the interest of pedestrian safety, do check your individual sidewalk in a coming week. Let the office know of any raised lifts, as they should be marked and addressed. These have been marked in pink in the past year, so if you have a raised sidewalk, do get your address down to the office as soon as possible. Okay, the Documents and Policies Committee is no longer an ad hoc committee. It's now a full-fledged committee with its own set of bylaws as of yesterday. And it has completed its work on revising our Lake Ridge bylaws and currently is waiting on a lawyer concerning the legal language for a few major points. When the response is received, the committee can move forward with its proposed updates for the board to review and then arrange for a vote from all residents. Remember I promised last month you'd be voting sometime in this first quarter? You're going to be voting. So that committee has done a great job, very thorough. It's been a huge project that affects everyone. Those bylaws were last modified in 2006, so this has been a major revision. That's it for me.
Okay, a lot of good work being done in terms of the bylaws, so we look forward to bringing everything forward to the residents for appropriate voting on the amended bylaws. All right, we will now move on to the Director at Large report, Charlie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. You're up next. First of all, I will give a little report from the Architectural Committee. I am the liaison to the ARC. This spring, the Architectural Committee will be focusing on a new campaign which will involve property cleanup. What I mean by property cleanup is they're going to be looking for homes that need power washing. They're going to be looking for unkept landscape, for unsightly weeds, faded paint, loose gutters and shutters, and lastly, mailboxes. There's a lot of mailboxes in the properties that need to be cleaned up a little bit, and the ARC is going to oversee this. Another thing that's we're finding is ARC applications and permits the permits have not been put in the windows of your home, if you have a permit. And ARC applications have not been coming in and work has been done. Not to get too particular, there are 2 instances right now where homeowners have done work with no ARC application and obviously no permit. In both cases, there's thousands of dollars involved, and the people have got to remove the projects that went forward. In one case, the homeowner told the contractor that they had a permit, when in fact they did not. They never even put an application in to do the work. And currently, the work that was done, again, without going into too many particulars, is going to be removed from the property. So it's very important that the ARC applications are put in, and I've said this for years, no matter what you want to do to the exterior of your home, it's very, very important to put an ARC application in. I stress, please don't listen to your neighbors. Don't let them try to influence you and say you can do whatever you want. Don't worry about the ARC committee, because things are changing. And as you can see with 2 homeowners, unfortunately at their own expense, they have to remove what they originally paid for. So it's not a good situation. We harp on this all the time. If we want to keep Lake Ridge as nice as it is, and we want to keep the property values up on our homes, we have to follow the rules. And I think, in talking to other people that I know that are on the different committees in the Renaissance and other communities, we are very homeowner friendly here. So with that in mind, please remember to put in those ARC applications. Very, very important. Next, the Real Estate Committee has completed all the documents and the policies that they were working on, and these papers, just to give you an idea, this is the forms that they have been working on. You can pick them up in the office. They will be, the buyers, sellers, and real estate agents will be involved in this. Just to give you an idea, there's a Lake Ridge homeowner listing home for sale form. There's a Lake Ridge ARC inspection of listed home form. If there are violations, the violations will be listed, they will be taken care of, and they will be signed by the architectural representative. There is a Lake Ridge intent to buy form that must be filled out. There is a compliance affidavit for both buyers and renters that must be filled out. There is a Lake Ridge Homeowner Association documents to be signed. When a prospective buyer is here, they must sign that they have received the Lake Ridge rules and regulations, they have received the ARC standards rules and regulations, and they received their welcome packet. So in the future, there will be no more pleading ignorance to a lot of these things, because homeowners are gonna be expected, buyers will be expected to have all of this information, so they can't say, oh, I didn't know that, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. There's also a new resident orientation sheet that has various, I'm not gonna get into all of them, but the buyers will be privy to security gate information. payment options, phone directory, e-vote consent, gatehouse call box, the welcome book, the bylaws. So everything that a prospective buyer should know, they will know, and we will have their signatures that they did receive this information. And also, there is a form that will be filled out, which is titled the Lake Ridge Estate Sales Form. There'll be more information about these, and the Real Estate Committee will be working with Alyssa in the office to implement this program. Also, I just want to mention, many of us realize that if you want to park down here at the parking lots, there are forms, overnight parking, that you must fill out. There is one for extended parking, and there's one for overnight parking. Please adhere to these forms. I'm getting a lot of complaints there. There are cars being parked in the main lot. One in particular has been there for 3 weeks already. The Architectural Committee will upgrade that standard to include where you should be parking your car if it's going to be in the lot for more than one night. And it can be in the back of the clubhouse up to 30 days, as long as the permit is filled out and on the dashboard of your car. So we would appreciate you adhering to that policy. I think that's it. Thank you.
So I want to chime in a little bit here. It's very important that people know the rules before they come live here. No surprises, and they need to keep up with what our standard is. And that also means that this new campaign is for everyone, and no single resident is going to be singled out. It's going to be done equitably across the board. So when you hear about your siding of your house needs to be cleaned, it's not you, it's everyone who has the same thing. So before we dealt with this in a way that I really didn't like, and that's why Charlie had this idea, someone puts in a concern sheet and it's like we're picking on one person. Well, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is across the board equally for everybody. So, and again, new homeowners ought to be held accountable. And they're going to be signing off that they understand the rules. And when they violate the rules, we're going to have their signature. We're going to say, you signed this. Well, I didn't really read it. Well, that's on you. That's on you. Have a nice day. You know? Okay. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so we're done with all the reports except for the manager's report, so now we'll turn it over to Ray.
Thank you. Just to expand a little bit on what Mike had mentioned before, the perimeter fence project was completed on February 6th, just under the original improved amount of $91,000. The final cost will be confirmed once we receive reimbursement of the performance bond we put in and the escrow account, which we also had to apply for or submit in the beginning of the project. Once the township attorney's fees are taken out of that, we'll be looking at the reimbursement that should, and at all, the way it looks, will be well under the budgeted amount. The cladding project, we started weekly construction meetings with the contractor and the engineer. We update the schedule for the work to be completed every week, and that in turn has helped us get this project going. It was a lot of confusion, a lot of problems with the weather, but since the construction meetings have started, we've been holding everybody to task, and things have been working out pretty well. Just some proposed projects coming in for the first of the year here. We don't have any big capital projects to speak of. Retaining wall, we have 7,000 square feet of retaining walls, wood retaining walls in the community. We took an inspection with a vendor back in October. We identified some areas, 12 different areas that we'll work on immediately just to get them shored up. Of course, this is all budgeted and highlighted in our reserve study. That was updated also to confirm confirm the amount of money we would need for these projects. We did complete inspection on concrete ramps, walkways, the shuffleboard court where concrete will be needed. Once we get the punch list back from the contractor, we'll be going out to bid on these projects for the repairs. As we mentioned before, Cut Above finished the drainage project, but they are also out and just finishing up now trimming the trees that are covering or blocking the street lights. That should be taken care of pretty soon. Repairs inspections are being scheduled for the tennis court services. There's a lot of cracking there, although it was done 2 years ago. With the water filtration, there has been some problems. So Athletic Sports will be coming in to do a walkthrough on the tennis courts for us. Also, we have Shaughnessy Sports coming in to do the resurfacing of the 3 bocce courts before the season starts. Federal Irrigation will be sending in their proposal for the scheduled repairs of 2 irrigation wells out of the 8. We plan to do 2 every year. That, of course, is in the reserve study as well. Little bits here, our 2023 workman's comp insurance audit was completed, and the association received a reimbursement of $1,870. We are currently working with our auditor, well, a good plan for our 2023 association financial audit. The 2024 pool registration has started with Toms River Township. We're trying to get that done early this year and hopefully be in a better position when the health inspector does show up this year again. And Vote HOA Now, who was our 2023 vendor for the elections last year, has been reapproved for these 2024 board elections. The elections for the board are scheduled for May 2024. The election committee, another strong committee you have here in the community, met 2 weeks ago. That we will be meeting again this afternoon to get this all coordinated. The one thing that stood out with Vote HOA Now is not only will they be able to handle the board of director elections, as mentioned before with the bylaws and any updates, they'll be able to handle that vote going out to the homeowners as far as multiple topics and any other up to 3 votes that need to get out to the community under 1 year. As you got a blast before, we have revamped the shuttle service for the community. The homeowners who were involved in the original scheduling were able to come up with a schedule approved by the board and by the shuttle company. We will do the first 3 trips of the month to the Brick ShopRite Plaza. The 4th will be the Manchester Plaza, and the last Monday of the month will be at Ocean County Mall. What was in the views this month was wrong because the deadline was well ahead of this change, but it will be corrected for the views, and this will be a standing schedule. And let me just take a break here, a little bit more. As you know, with Taylor Management, we rolled out a new financial portal during the summer. It caused some confusion, not only with the implementation, but just getting indoctrinated with it. The office staff and I were involved with weekly, if not bi-weekly, webinars for this new project, which took over for the TOPS program that most management companies have been used for the better part of 20 years. We finally got the bugs out. This financial strong room was used for the payment of invoices, the new chart of accounts, keeping an eye on the budget, the financial reports. Well, now Taylor Management will offering a program called Web Access. It's going to combine the strong room portal. We have a sync portal, which is the homeowner database, which includes the homeowner information, contact information, your maintenance fees, violations, work orders. This web access portal will combine all 3 so that everything will be under one roof. It will also offer homeowners, residents, the opportunity to see their own account. You'll be able to sign on. You'll be able to look at your maintenance fee balance. You'll be able to pay the maintenance fee balance. You'll be able to enter your own work orders, ARC applications. This is all being put together for us now. It has already been rolled out at 40 other communities. The Finance Committee and the board have been through video webinars on this program, and we really don't see any downfalls other than minor burps in the installation of this new program. They're looking to roll that out probably within the next 30 days. Homeowners will be getting a letter from Taylor to explain the program, to explain how to register. We will also have access to the community calendar, and Alyssa has set it up to where we will be able to keep our website, the primary website, with the Lake Ridge HOA net emails, and that will be able to coordinate and access through the main page of the website. So a lot of that will be coming out in the future. There was proposed amendments to the New Jersey State Fire Code, which dealt with landscape materials. This was mentioned in previous meetings too, about the 18-inch border around the homes with wooden mulch. It's still being revised. There's still no concrete resolution or amendment with the state code as of yet. Community Association Institute is working with this proposed amendment to try to get things community friendly as well. So it takes time, but they get very involved in any statutes that would affect community associations. So that's still in the works. We have newly signed legislation regarding structural integrity of commercial buildings in an association. This was implemented by Governor Murphy in relation to the condo collapses in Florida and elsewhere, whereas the communities will have to implement programs with their capital reserve study, put money aside to allow integral inspections of any commercial buildings in the community. This would be our clubhouse and annex. And in reviewing this with the Finance Committee, it is something that Lake Ridge has already been doing for years. Your buildings are inspected every 2 years. It is included in the capital reserve study, so we see no big bump when this does come into effect for New Jersey as it's rolled out this year. You're in good shape. The Corporate Transparency Act, which is something that is still being revised. This allows for any firms, and mostly homeowners associations, where to oversee and try to deter any theft or misappropriations within community associations and trust companies, whereas board of directors, possibly committee chairs, it hasn't been defined yet, would have to sign up, register, and basically be under the state watch for any unnecessary financial wrongdoings within the community. So it's called the Corporate Transparency Act. Congress enacted it, but it is still going through some revisions, especially in New Jersey. CAI is trying to get some waivers in there for community associations, but again, pretty much it's to combat financial crimes in corporations and community associations. Just a quick note, with the projects, snow events, everything else going on in the community, we just want everybody to know, owners to know, residents to know, please refrain from contacting the contracted vendors during these events. They're out there, they're contracted through the association. They're going by what is in their contract, what is being told, instructed to them from the office. And also, if there's complaints or numerous complaints, there's really no way that the office can monitor these if we don't see them coming first. We've informed as with the fence, with snow removal, with vehicles coming into the community. We've instructed most of our contractors out here, or anybody who's working on a hot topic, to inform the homeowner if they have any complaints. Please let us know in the office. Fill out a concern sheet, send an email, so that we have some physical information in the office. We can know if there's more than one complaint. We can know how we can monitor this and make sure that everything's taken care of. We're not looking to come down on anybody. We just need to better monitor situations. we won't know unless we're informed as well. And that concludes my report.
Notify the officer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also, the office staff, starting March 1st, the office will be closed Monday to Friday, 12:30 to 1 o'clock, so that the staff can enjoy an uninterrupted lunch. We'll put that out in the blurb as well, but, please keep that in mind when coming to the office. We'll bend over backwards to help you, but the girls need to eat too, so. Thank you.
A lot of information, thank you, Ray. Okay, so may I please have a motion to complete the business portion of this meeting? Someone make a motion?
I so move.
May I have a second to complete the business portion of this meeting? Okay. All those in favor of closing the meeting, please say aye. Are there any nays? The ayes have it. The business portion of this meeting is now closed.